Hello. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
So sorry, I got a call from office, so I had to go. Okay. Did you do the programs, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
PSP programs, all of you.
Yes, ma'am.
So was it easy? Did you face any problems?
No, ma'am.
Nobody. Okay. Let me check who hasn't submitted. Bhumika Devan. Oh, sorry, Bhumik and Roses. Bhumik and Roses have not submitted. And okay, I just wanted to check for just one. This is Ramray. Okay. Now, when you write your programs, what you have done is you have copy pasted it. You are not supposed to copy paste. I think on the very first day of the class, I had told that you are supposed to write program. You have to maintain a lab file like how you do in your regular classes. You're supposed to maintain a copy where you write down all your programs with handwritten programs. Okay, and only the output. See, this is copy pasted. I don't want this. In this way, you will never learn how to write a program. You'll never learn a syntax because you're just copy pasting it. This program you have to write with your hands in your copy. That is your lab copy. Okay. And output, since you have to submit as a, in your copy, you can write down some output. Okay. You can draw this. Just an output. You need not draw this toolbox. Okay, just a box, and then your this one, the domain. Okay, the URL thing, the address, whatever address, and then the output. Okay, but when you submit as a soft copy, you can copy paste this output. On the very first day, when I spoke about lab thing, how to submit your programs, I had made it clear. I will not accept copy paste programs. Got it, everyone? If you have done it for the previous one also, because whenever I start marking, then I check one by one. Right now, I just check who has submitted and who has not submitted. Okay, like for this, Anita. I want this. I want you to write programs like this and output like this. This is what I had given the instructions. Handwritten program. And okay, Ram Ray, are you there? Ram, is he online today?
No, ma'am.
No. So whoever has submitted, copy pasted one, please rewrite the program, okay? And then submit again. I'll message in the WhatsApp group. Okay? This is not accepted. Only the output you can give screenshot, but not your program. Okay, in the lab, in your lab copy, you can write down what is your output. Okay, and I can see keys. This is giving an error. What is this? Some errors are there. Even some error. And one more thing. He has given XYZ. Never give example with XYZ. See, he has written XYZ, XYZ, some garbage data. This will not be accepted. Write some meaningful sentence. Anyways, he's not there today. So, okay. So today, so you know how to write simple programs in PHP, isn't it? Now, next thing is, you know your SQL, you know how to create database, okay, and simple queries. Select, create, okay. So creating a table, selecting a table, updating a table, okay, and how to insert in a table, okay. So you know all those SQL queries. Now those SQL queries, whatever you have studied so far, okay, now you have to write queries in PHP. So you design a simple form and you write an SQL query and then connect it with the database. Okay, now we will see the database connection, SQL and PHP in today's class. Okay. So we will see basic PHP MySQL functions, okay, how to connect to a database and selecting a database, running a query, using results of a query, okay. Once you get the result of a query, how to display, and after your work is done, you should close the connection, okay. And original function start with MySQL. This is the main MySQL function, okay. So database connection. This is the query command mysql sqli. It is the upgraded version. In upgraded version of PHP, initially earlier it was only mysql, okay. So improved version from PHP 5 starts with mysql I, okay. So in the upgraded version, I is added, okay, in the command. So mysql I underscore connect. This is the function, okay, predefined function to connect to your database. And you have to write down the name of a server, okay, where you're working. Since your system itself is a server and a client, so here it will be localhost, okay, because you are doing in your own system, okay. So localhost, and you give a username and password. So this is the main function which helps you to connect to a database, okay, database which you have already created. First you have to create a database, then after creating a database, then you should connect, okay, to your PHP, to your as and when required, okay. Like so far you have done PHP programs, there was no database required, isn't it? So this database connection was not required, okay, because you just created a little bit of you added numbers and then you typed something and that was to be displayed, okay. So database was not required. But when you use user login and password form, if you create a form with user ID and password, then you need some data to type in, okay, and then it has to be compared just to log in to move on to the next page, okay. So that time you need a database, okay. So username is a string for the username. In this particular slide, the slide which I have taken, so this particular slide, in the entire slide, username is lab user. Okay, this you can change according to your. If you have given username as your name, okay, so you replace that with your name or your system name, whatever. And password is a string for the password. So password in this particular slide is MSc IMD 15. So this is the password given. Accordingly, suppose you have given some admin or some your registration number, user ID as a registration number, and password some unique, okay, unique word, then you can rename it, okay. So user ID and password you can rename it as and when you do the program, okay. So this is and for this is for the lab, okay. This one if you are working in Apple system, okay. And for Windows lab, see MySQL connect localhost lab user. And since this particular function, it is a predefined function, okay, predefined function always returns a value. That is, once it is connected, it returns a string, okay. So whenever you refer to that and this is creating a connection, okay. Once your work is done, you should also close the connection. So you need a variable, where it will be stored. So in this particular example, $CONN. So this is a variable which stores the value it returns. Okay, that means the connection, once it is connected, a value will be returned, so it will stored here. So in the further program, this variable will be referred whenever you want to create a connection, whenever you want to connect with the tables in the database. So this will be referred. Okay, so example, sample connection code. Okay, so this is your PHP. So this is a variable, MySQL connect, localhost, lab user ID and password. Okay, or means if the connection is not created, so you should know whether a connection is created or not. Okay, so this is the connection created, or die, it's a function. Okay, could not connect. Okay, and then error, what is MSQL error? So in this particular variable will be stored, if the connection is not created, whatever string, whatever value this particular function will return will be stored here. Okay, so MySQL error $CONN, so print successful connection. That means this one, if there is any error, then this will be displayed, what error, or else print successful connection if there is no error. Okay, if there is no error, then it will come here, print successful connection, when nothing is there. So once it is done, at the end you have to close this. See, MySQL I close. So these are the built-in functions. Okay, MySQL connect to connect with the database, and then once your work is done, MySQL close. So this variable has to be referred to. So this will close the database connection. So now in between this connect and close will be your SQL query. Okay, and this is only for if, suppose if it does not get connected, then you should know whether it is connected or not. Okay, so this is to display could not connect, then you have to try again. Okay, there can be a wrong user ID or password, or there can be a syntax error. Okay, there can be various problems, various technical problem. So that has to be displayed. Okay, why it is not getting connected. Okay, now we will see how to select a database. Okay, MySQL, selecting a database, MySQL I select DB. Okay, then connection comma name. So this connection means this one. So once you're connected, okay, now you have to select your database. Next thing is selecting a database. As I said, SQL connect and SQL close. Okay, I'll just say SQL. Okay, short form, MySQL I don't want to say this long. I'll just say SQL connect and SQL close. Okay, but this is the right way, okay, of writing. So in between connect and close, there will be your database. Selecting, creating, inserting, updating, everything will be within this connect and close. Okay, so next, once it is connected, now next is you have to select a database. Okay, so selecting a database, meaning once you create a database, okay, once you create a database in SQL, in PHP, once you after installation, did you see there was an option for SQL? All of you, did you
Yes, ma'am.
explore the software? Yes, yeah,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
have to click the button, isn't it? Yes. In the server, because see, PHP is, you're working on the server. Okay, you are always working on the server side. Okay, you have to create a server there. I'm sure the instruction, the videos which I have sent, it was very clear, isn't it? Simple and clear how to create a server and how to create a database there. So once you click on the SQL, then you move on to the database interface, and there you have to create a database. Okay, so once you create a database, okay, you have to give a meaningful database name, like database, if you want a college, Okay, you can give a DB underscore college or some meaningful name. Okay, so once you then, if it is a college, then you can have various tables, student tables, department tables, teachers tables. The tables has to be created as well. Okay, see, just because I'm saying you connect to SQL and then you start writing queries, it will not work. A database has to be created. That's why last time I asked you, have you started creating database in SQL in database or not? Have you done with SQL queries or not? That was the reason, because you should know how to create simple database. Okay, so before doing all these things, before executing this today's slide programs, what you have to do is you have to create a database, and under the database you have to create tables. Okay, so you can create, for now, since you are doing it for the very first time, you create a database. Okay, and then in that particular database you create a table. Okay, then just create one table, although there will be n number of tables, but for practice, for because you are learning right now, just create one table with at least 4 to 5 attributes. Column attribute means columns. Okay, like you can give registration number and your name, first name, last name, age, contact number, whatever. Okay, so you can give the simplest data and then create a table, and then give up, don't give xyz. It really annoys me whenever I see output of a student. The student says, ma'am, the program is working. So when I tell them to execute, I see input output xyz. That really annoys me. You are not in, like, you're not in nursery where you're still learning your alphabets, isn't it? You give some proper meaningful name. First name, you give your first name. You have a name, first name, and you have a name, last name. You have age, you have your mobile number. Okay, you have your registration number. Just don't give xyz and xyz. That annoys me. Like, the very first sight of that output annoys me. I don't feel like giving full marks, although everything is correct, your output is correct, your program is correct, the algorithm is fine, but still I don't feel like giving you 10 out of 10 if I see that. Okay, so when it's a complete means you should have a complete data also. Okay, not xyz. So you create a table with meaningful data. Okay, with correct spelling, meaningful data, then you can execute this queries. Okay, so this is the next thing is, after creating connection with the database, connection SQL connect. Okay, after creating a connection, next thing is, now you have to select your database. Okay, so this selection can be done only when a database is already created. Okay, so MySQL select DB connection. So what is the connection name? This is the example, MySQLi select DB. This is a built-in function. Okay, MySQL, although it looks a very long, it looks like a user defined, but it is a built-in function. Underscore, you have to write it in this way. You cannot change alphabets. Okay, capital, small letter, or spellings, nothing. It is a predefined. So underscore DB bracket CONN, $CON, the variable which stores the connection value. Okay, and in this case, name lab user. Okay, select a database given by the string name. The connection variable is required. Okay, in this case it's lab user. Okay, now see little further expanded version of the same code. Okay, so PHP connection, you're creating a connection lab user. Okay, with a password, or die, because or just to display if the connection is not created, to make sure. Okay, error, and display the error also, or no connection, and this particular MySQL error, this particular function will display why it is not connected, what type of error display. Okay, and close here. Okay, semicolon. This is the end of the sentence. If connection is created, it will move on to next. Next is MySQL select DB con the lab user. Okay, or die, same thing, or die will not open. MySQL error, the same thing. MySQL error, what kind of error? Okay, if there is connection is not done with the database, this is important. Or die, this is a function. Okay, die function, the display will not be open. And then connection. Okay, so if it is connected, then print. database connected. Okay, so database is connected. We have connection this and even the database connected, done. Okay, so your work is to just to display this. In this particular slide, what we are trying to do is we are trying to create connection with SQL and database, okay, which database is already there, existing database. You're trying to connect, okay, and then after connecting, you're displaying print database connected. If you get this particular statement on your screen, that means your program is executing. Okay, so in this particular slide, it is just trying to connect and select database. Okay, so that's why you close it. So your job right now, what you're trying to say, just to check whether your commands are working or not. Okay, whether this query is working or not. Okay, so print database connected and then close. Okay, so now slowly this will expand. Okay, initially we just created, okay, connection or not, and then close the first slide. This one, we were just trying to create connection. Okay, SQL connect. If not connection, or else successful connection, close. In the next phase, we learned how to create a database. Okay, after the connection, once the connection is done, next thing is connect with the database. So this is how connection is done. Okay, this is the query to connect with the database. Okay, you need two variables. One is the connection variable. Okay, and next is your database. What is the name of the database? Okay, so once this is done, now how to combine both? First, to connect SQL. Once SQL is connected, you connect with the database. Okay, once this is also connected, print the statement database connected. Once this is done, close the connection. Okay, so we are doing step by step. Now next, so error messages. Okay, so this error, what is this? This is explanation of this particular error message. Okay, returns an error string or error number. Okay, connection is optional with last open connection used if non-supplied. Empty string is written if there is no error. Example, this is this. Okay, if there is no error, then there will be nothing, no string, nothing will be written. Okay. Now next, making a query. Okay, so first, as I said, SQL connect. Once your SQL is connected, you connect with the database. And I'm saying again and again, you have to create a database. Okay, you have to create a database, and then inside the database, at least one table should be there. Create one more table. You already should do that. Okay, before starting with the PHP program. Okay, now first we did SQL connection, we did database connection. Now you're connected to the database. Now we will write queries. How to write queries? Okay, so this is the command: MySQL query bracket connection comma query. Okay, so makes a select query. Query is a string for the MySQL. You know what is query, isn't it? Okay, and semicolon should not be used to terminate query. Okay, so do not use semicolon like earlier you used to use semicolon in database. Okay, and query uses valid SQL command. Okay, so we will see now. So dollar query, it is divided. This is divided. In some cases, rather than giving this dollar query a variable, some programmer, they write this whole thing here. That is also allowed. Okay, that's how you write a program. It's up to you whether you want to make it simpler and you use an additional variable. Okay, and then you write it here, or if you want to make it in a single line, although the two lines will be written as a single line, either this or that. That is up to the programmer how you write program. Okay, so dollar query is a new variable which will hold data. Now see, select is a keyword. Okay, in query, SQL query, select surname. It can be surname. Suppose in table you have given last name. You have created a table name student. This is a table name. Are you getting the query? All of you? Are you listening?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, you have to relate to your database. Okay, so this is a select statement, a keyword. Surname is your attribute, your column name. It can be your last name. If in your table you have given first name and last name, or F name and L name. Okay, so you have to rename accordingly. From is a keyword again. Student is a table name. So if you have created a student table, then well and good, you don't have to rename it. Same thing, you can write it. Okay, so this is a query. So whatever output, select surname. Okay, whatever, all the surname will be selected. Okay, so whatever output of this particular query, okay, will be here in this particular variable. Okay, now result. Okay, this is the query, the whole sentence of a query. Okay, now result. Now this is the main function, MySQL query. Okay, this will help to execute the query. So this is the connection, database connection. Remember, I told you why the variable has to be used, because it will be, this particular will be used in all your queries. Okay, so connection, comma, and this query, the whole 4-line sentence will be replaced by query, a single variable. So it looks simple. So now the output, all the surname of student from student table. Okay, this will execute only if the connection is there. So that's why this is important. The connection has to be done the first. So this will be stored in result. Okay, then you can display the result. And results generally can be displayed in a form, or where you want to display, in a web browser. Okay, so this is how it is done. So we will see the program now. First we connect. Okay, so we are adding one by one. Connect, you select the database, and now this two we have already seen. Now there is a query as well. Okay, so PHP, you create a connection. Okay, or die if there's no connection, and then you create a database, or print a sentence if it is not created. Okay, or this will execute, as I said, only if it is not, if the connection is not created. Okay, the next is query execution. Okay, so query, so this is your query, and now execute the query, give it here. Okay, the result will be stored here, or there is also given one more statement, or die invalid if there is any error, if the query does not exist, if you have some syntax error, or if student table does not exist, or the surname does not exist. Okay, some spelling mistake is there, capital letter, small letter, then this will give as an invalid query. Okay, or else if everything is correct, okay, print successful query. Got it? So your query is also fine, it is executed. Okay, that means no error. No error, print successful query. Once everything is done, close your connection. So we are doing step by step. Okay, I'm sure this is a very simple, very easy steps to connect to your database. Okay, SQL and database. Okay, so you can follow this, and later on you can save this. I'll send this PPT to you. I'll forward this PPT. You can keep this for your in future also. If you want to work in PHP, then you can, because all these things you'll tend to forget as and when, like, if you don't have everyday programming practice, then you will forget. Okay, so all these steps will help you. So closing the connection, MySQL connection closes the database connection with the link. Okay, this is the link. Okay, it closes. And then if you want, you can also, like, for result. Okay, there is this result, it will be stored in some buffering memory will be used. Okay, so if you want, because see, this is not a small result, it's from the student, you are taking all the surnames, so it will definitely occupy some memory space. Okay, so once your work is done, you can also release the memory, free the memory. Close connection, again frees up memory during a program. So all these things are additional. Okay, additional built-in functions which you can do. So that was the main thing. Okay, now other MySQL function returns number of rows from a select. Okay, if you want to select number of rows. Okay, query MySQL fetch row calls each returns the next row as an indexed array. Okay, or see like this, I was talking about this, rather than result MySQL query connection, straight away there itself you give a query, select star from module. Okay, so if it is a very small query you can give it, but if it is a very long, sometimes you'll be from this, that, join table, this table, you are taking values from two tables. Okay, so if it is too long, then you can use a variable. Okay, like for something like this you can straight away write in your bracket in your query itself. Okay, MySQL query, and then number equals to MySQL number rows. After getting the result, you take in the result, and then you can, okay, this particular will add how many rows are there, it will count. Okay, how many rows, and based on that rows, one by one, fetch row result, means it will start displaying. Okay, so how to display one by one, this is totally in your program. We are not, yeah, we have not used form right now. Okay, you write a program and then you have selected star from module. So this is a table, star means everything. So you are trying to display all, the star means all. So you're trying to display all the data from table module. So this is a large data. Okay, and there can be, it can be 10 lines, 1 line, or 100 lines, rows. Okay, so how to display one by one, so this is how it is. You use in a for loop, so you calculate number of rows. Okay, take a variable, and that variable you use as a counter in your program, and then row, fetch row. Okay, this is a built-in function, then result. So this is how it is displayed one by one. Okay, so other functions used after an insert, update, or delete query to return the number of rows affected. Okay, so these are the other SQL query. Okay, commands, not query, you can say used in the query. Okay, commands. We have seen only, right now we have seen only select. Okay, after selecting, if you want to insert, update, delete, these are also, you can do it. Okay, returns the name, MySQL number field returns the name of the table column whose position is given by index. Okay, so these are the other functions, SQL functions. As and when you require, you can do it. Okay, so yeah, according to your program it is required. Okay, number of fields, module is so and so. So these are the other term functions. Okay, and for array, to fetch an array, returns row information as an array. Example, MySQL query connection, select star from module. Okay, while row fetch array result. So it has to be in a loop because multiple data will be there. Okay, row and module name. So this is all these are what do we say, your attributes. Okay, in the module table. So see, all this thing you might get confused because whatever query is written here is the existing one. Okay, based on that existing table, all these queries are written. Now in your case, you have to create a database, then you have to create tables, and you should give a meaningful column names. Okay, so function returns true while a row is fetched and false when there is no row. Available. Okay, so this is one simple sample code. Okay, first you connect to the database and then select the data. In this case, database is project employee. Okay, PROJEMP, project employee. Select name, employee number, employee name, salary from employee order by e-name, by employee name ASC. Okay, so this is the filter. So based on this, it will generate. Okay, so this is a query. Result, connect the query. Okay, num, see how many rows will be selected. Okay, in this result, so you calculate the rows, and depending on that row, this particular number you have to display. So table border, a table is created. Okay, a table with border size 1, header. So this is the table created. Okay, salary, and then display. Okay, so every time, this is the for loop to display the details. Okay, so based on this result, okay, and row, so this is the row, number of rows is num. Okay, result has the data, so row MySQL fetch row, and then echo. In every time it is display, a row and a column is created. Okay, so dollar row, yeah, this is the index value, and then it will go on. Then close the table, and then close your connection. So in PHP, you have created a table, and then inside the table, you're trying to display the details like employee number, employee name, salary. Okay, so these three details, name, salary. Okay, so these three columns are generated here. Okay, so you can rewrite the same program for your table. Suppose your table, you have created a student table, you give a student name, student table. Okay, sorry, this is the database, name of the database. Okay, you give a meaningful database and select this. These are the attributes. These will be your student registration number, student name, and students contact details you can give from student. Okay, and then try to display this. Okay, so this is one example code. So loop, for loop, so we have seen earlier how this looping works. Okay, you need, for loop always need a counter. So how you do a counter in case of this, since we are fetching the tables, data from the table, in a table the data are stored in rows or column. In a column, a single data, only like say employee name or only the employee code. Okay, so that is the reason why it always goes for the rows, because a single row will contain all the data of an employee, right from his employee number, name, address, salary, everything. Okay, so whenever a value data is displayed, the table, whatever is stored in the table, whenever you want to display all the data in the of the table, then you have to use this function to calculate the number of rows. Okay, so number of rows of that particular query result you calculate, that will be a counter. So suppose 10 rows are selected, so your num value will be 10, and it will go on till 10 times. Okay, fetch row, every time this will fetch row, first row will be taken. Okay, first row will be taken, then it will go back again when number is 2. Okay, then second row will be taken, and so on till it goes on till 10 times. Okay, so another one sample code, root or no connection echo table. So this you can practice. Okay, this table, row, column, once you do it on your own, then it will be easier, because now when I'm explaining, you might get confused which table, which row, which data is going where. Okay, so when you do it yourself, when you type the program, so you know that okay, this is a table, this is a tr is a row, and td is a column, and each time for e number this one, for e name this one, and for salary this one. Okay, so you can relate to it, and then once the output is generated, then you can understand it, what it exactly means. Okay, so next is your while loop. The previous one was for loop, now this is while loop. Even while loop needs a counter, okay, to control the loop. So this is how, this is shortcut method they have used. Otherwise, before while loop, you use dollar, okay, and then you give value MySQL fetch array results. So number of I mean rows, okay, will be calculated. The size of array, okay, size of array, or if it's single dimensional array, then in single row multiple columns are there, so that will be calculated. Otherwise, two-dimensional array, a row will be calculated, because a row contains column. Always remember that a row contains column, so row number of rows will be calculated. Okay, so this is how it will be done. Okay, so having connected to MySQL, select, these are the step-by-step explanation. Okay, select a database, okay, run a query, then process the result. Process means what you want to do. Want to fetch data, fetch row, fetch array, then generalize the select query, get selection clause value from the user, text box, even better drop down box or HTML box. So basically why you are learning database connection is, once you created the database connection, now in this example we have seen straight away in the program, okay, straight away in the program our database is connected and then the details are fetched. Now same thing can be done with the form as well. So this is what it is trying to say, generalize the select query. So how can you generalize? Using text boxes, or even better, a drop down box. So you can create a form then and there and then get the data. Okay, so adding variable to a query string. Okay, so value post value set. Remember the post functions we have discussed earlier. Okay, whenever we use a form, okay, they should be, when you're posting something, submitting value, so either it should be post or get. Okay, so select star from employee where salary is dot dollar value. Okay, so this is what it has values. Okay, so in this case a certain value is given. Okay, so based on that value you select a employee, all the details of the employee based on the salary. Okay, so some value is given there. Okay, so whatever value is entered in the HTML front end is posted and plugged into the query string. Okay, so in this case the value post, so this post is used for the, as I said, from the form. Okay, so this is a if you remember, it's a global array. So whenever you enter some values, like say user ID, login ID and password, if you remember login ID and password, when you enter, you log in with login ID and user ID and password, those values are stored in post. Okay, now in this case what it is posting is the salary. So I'm just assuming there is a form where you need to enter salary, say 1 lakh. Okay, so you enter salary 1 lakh and then submit. There is a submit button, that means you're posting it. So 1 lakh will be stored here. So based on this 1 lakh, so you are getting this value from the form. Okay, this value from the form. Okay, so based on this value, which is 1 lakh, the employee list will be selected. Star means everything, all the details from the table EMP. Okay, from the table EMP, all the where salary is greater or say equal to value, that is 1 lakh. Wherever is 1 lakh value which is equal to 1 lakh, that will be displayed. The where clause uses a text attribute, inverted commas must be placed around the value. Okay, example, select star from employee where ename equals to Smith. Okay, so that employee name Smith, or select star from employee where ename equals to value, something like this. Okay, so this is the syntax, how you do it. So this is what I was trying to say. Okay, so this is the form. Okay, query gets employee number, name and salary for employees above this value. Okay, so enter a salary. So this is what I was trying to explain. So this is a form where you enter a salary, suppose say 1 lakh. Okay, submit a query, So this is what happens. And this is what happens where salary is greater than, this is a greater than sign, the value. So 1 lakh. Okay. So all the details will be displayed. This is how you connect with the form and your database. Okay. This is for text box. Similar text box. Enter a salary value. It looks a little bit complicated, but once you start doing it, it won't be that. It'll be very easy. It's just that you have to remember. Okay, see, in this case, just one text box is used. Okay, one text box is used and you are submitting, you're posting it. Okay, so you have to remember how it is working. So once you post it, so that post function is used and this text box is used. So this text box name should be known to you. Okay, input type is text. Okay, name equals to text value. So this is the name of that text box, text value. Okay, name given is text value. So you have to refer to this now. See, post text value. Backend PHP DB connecting this one. So how your program will look like? PHP and then S equals to S post. So whatever you post in this particular text value, this particular text box, okay. So name of this text box is text value. That's why if you remember when we were doing HTML form designing, I always said text box, okay, drop down box, radio buttons. You should give a proper name to it because that will be referred later on. So later on means this later on I was talking about. So you have created a text box, okay? Input type equals to, you input type, this particular query will create a text box. So input type is text and what name you are giving it? Text value. Okay, so a text box is created with a text with a name text value. Now you have to refer to this particular text box. So how you are referring? There in PHP you have written, okay, you have created a variable and that particular value is getting posted. Okay, that from the form it is getting posted. Okay, what is getting posted? A value written in the text box. So how do you refer to the text box? The name of the text box is text value. This is how you refer. Then this dot 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 line means all the connection part. This connection part. Remember this connection part. You connect with the select a database, okay? This one. Then you have a query there. So you might be wondering what is that dot dot lines. This dot 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 line means connection. Connection to the SQL, connection to the database. Okay, once those things are done, then you come to the query. So your query is select star from employee where salary is greater than what? Dot is, remember, you're concatenating two strings. So dot what? So from where the value is coming? The value is coming from the text box. So this is how you write your program. Okay, so this is a complete program. You can execute this also. Okay, once you create tables, okay, salary and so on. So this is how your output will look like. Okay, generalized query one output and query two output. Similarly, you have a select box. Select box means, remember you have a text area. Can anyone tell me what is a select box? In form, select box in form. Anyone? Am I disconnected?
No, ma'am.
Then why there's so much of silence? It's almost done. You don't have much, just 2-3 slides. I mean, one more slide, then we are done. See, select box means there'll be if you one is drop down box, you have to select, okay, drop down box, a small down arrow will be there. So when you click on that, a list of items will be there where you can select. Okay, one is that. Another one is a big text area will be there, and then the option will be visible there itself. So that is the select box. Okay, so this is the list of values. This greater than this, these are the values. Okay, option, option, option. This is how you give. Select name, select name equals to value list, option. So when you write a value list, you have to give option. Option this, greater than this, close option, next option, third option, okay, then close the select. So this is the select area you are creating in the form, okay, in the HTML form. It's written in an HTML form. Chosen value list option, value posted to backend PHP file. So once the database is connected, so this is how it will look like in your PHP. The value will be given from value list. Similarly, it was given from input, it was given from text value, so text value. Now it's given from value list, name of the list, value list, so value list is given. So you should know this connection, then only your database will work. Connection is there, database created, everything is done, but when you execute your query, you are not able to list the table values. Somewhere you are going wrong. So first thing you have to see is this, from where you're extracting the value, what is the name given to it. So most of the students, they make mistake in this because it's a bit confusing. I know we are learning it for the first time, so it is bit, you have studied database separately, okay, you are studying HTML separately, you are studying PHP separately, okay. So no, to put them together and work, I mean, like, the database and then HTML and then you're also doing PHP, put them together and execute it. It's not a very easy thing. First time it will be difficult, but then second time, third time, it will be very easy. And then you will say, oh, it's such a simple thing. Why earlier, why I didn't, I mean, like, why I didn't do a little bit of hard work to understand it. It's all about, I keep saying, it's all about practice. Okay. Now you might be getting bored, like, it's a 12 o'clock, almost one lunch time, and then I don't know what ma'am is saying, this list, that list. You might be getting restless also. Okay, I can understand, but still, like, from that, I'm sure you are 60% drained, but still you have that little bit of percentage where you can concentrate. Just try to understand these things. Okay, whenever you create a text box, a select, a drop down, or radio buttons, these are the input boxes from the form. You give a meaningful name to it, and that particular name has to be connected to your form, queries. This is from the form. Okay, database is there, fine. Tables are created, fine. But now you have to create connection. Whatever you're trying to input from the text box, you have created a form, registration form. You write first name, you type first name there, and that particular first name has to be entered in the database at the back end, this particular back end. So how to create the connection? This is the one. Okay, you give text box name, a meaningful name, like here, a meaningful name, and that is used here. And then this is only for displaying. Similarly, you can also use it for inserting. Okay, so I'll send you, if you, it's always good to know more, learn. It's better to learn more than what right now. What I have learned, this is what it is given in your syllabus. There are other things in the syllabus also, but important things we are discussing. Okay, so today we have learned basic things. I'll try to give you more programs so that, like, you can have more practice. Okay, so this will help you later on in your project, mini project, major project. You can do it, you don't have to depend on anyone, you can do it on yourself. Okay, so this is how it is done. So this is the full program. Okay, I'm sure now you have understood what it means. This is the value list. Okay, this is coming from, this is just a PHP program is written there. Now you cannot just write this and execute, okay? I think I forgot to tell you that. So where is this value list coming from? You should also have HTML form in your program, okay? So you should have HTML form first, create an HTML form, then next will be your PHP, okay? So above this will be your HTML programs where you create a form. Create a form with this. So you should write this, okay? HTML form with a proper syntax. HTML, head, title, body, and then you create this. And then once you're done, close this. Then next step comes your PHP after that. Okay, so just don't execute this. If you try to execute this, then again there'll be a error saying that it does not exist because there is a post method. Okay, you have to create a form with a method post. Fine. Okay, please do that. Above this is just for the SQL queries only for the connection part. Fine. So this is what we have learned today. It is just a summary. Okay, everyone understood little bit how it is done? Although I can see only 8 students, but still I hope I'm able to make you understand how it works.
Yes, ma'am.
All of you, something. Yeah, at least 30 to 40%. I hope you have understood, isn't it? It looks simple and it is simple. Okay, you might say, okay, when ma'am explains in the class, when she explains in the PPT, it looks so simple, but actually when we do it, it's so difficult, nothing is working. That kind of frustration will come. That is for sure, but only for the first time. Okay, you think properly and then follow the instructions step by step. Okay, you can do it yourself. See, more than me teaching you, if you practice and then you try to correct your error by yourself, then that will be more helpful to you. That will boost your confidence. Okay, you need not rely, sorry, you need not rely on faculty or on your teacher or I mean on your friends all the time. You can do it. If once you can solve a problem by yourself, then in future you can solve any problems by yourself. You don't have to depend on anyone. Okay, but you should give time to yourself. Practice more. Fine. So next I'll give you database related programs in PHP. Okay. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And those who have not submitted your previous assignment, please try to complete on time. Okay.
Ma'am,
Okay,
we
let
have to do,
mm. Yeah,
ma'am, we
yeah.
have to redo all those programs we have done in Word.
Yes. Those who have copy pasted it, please write in your lab copy. Maintain a lab copy or A4 sheet, whatever is convenient to you. Okay. Write it and then take pictures, make a PDF, then you send it to me. I had made it very clear. It should be handwritten.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know. Let me check. I still remember somewhere I've written it should be handwritten. Instructions. I just written submit. Just let me check. Hmm. So this is the first program I had given on HTML. Kindly execute all the sample programs given in the slide, so and so, as discussed in the class, and submit here. Take snapshots of the output and submit. Everyone has to maintain a lab file to write down all the programs executed and submitted. So this is what it means. You have to maintain a lab file. to write down all the programs. So you have to write this. This is the first assignment I have posted. That too, the sample programs. You have to write down all the programs and submit. Okay. What I have done is I see how many people have submitted. Okay, then I just randomly click 1 or 2. So whatever I have clicked so far, they have handwritten it. Maybe I have missed out those who have written in the thing, but luckily I checked today in front of you all, so I came to know. Otherwise, I won't give you marks if it is copy pasted. Okay, you have to write down the programs, all the programs. Okay, even the assignments, theoretical assignment, you have to write down. This note
Until
sheet
when
is not
can
allowed.
we? Until when can we submit?
You can just
Resubmit?
take another. Yeah, you can just take another 2 days time. You just have to copy it, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, in another 2 days time, just handwritten. And those who are absent today, also please inform them.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Thank
Thank you,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.